We all know Snapdeal. At some point, we all did shopping from this e-commerce site. Initially, when online shopping started in India, Flipkart and Snapdeal were the largest e-commerce platforms. But suddenly, in the last 2-3 years, Snapdeal vanished from the market. We all thought that Snapdeal is gone and not coming back into the market. But guess what? Snapdeal is rebuilding its business and is in the process of launching its IPO in 2022 to raise 1250 crores. But how did this happen? Let's understand in today's episode. Snapdeal was started by two school friends from Delhi, Kunal Bahl and Rohit Bansal. Rohit Bansal was an IITian, had just quit working for an American bank, while Kunal Bahl, a Wharton graduate, was considering a job with Microsoft in US. But that dream was shattered when his H-1B visa was rejected. So these 22-year-old friends launched a company with the name Jasper Infotech in 2007, which sold booklets of discounted retail coupons. Customers can buy these booklets and present the coupons to the retailers to get discount. But this business failed. It sold just 3 of the 50,000 booklets printed. In 2008, the two founders started another company called Money Saver. This time they decided to sell coupons online. It was a success. 15,000 coupons were sold in 3 months, and it was the time to take the business to next level. With the growing business, they increased the employee number to 30. But soon they were hit by financial crisis. Company was running out of cash and client payments were delayed. They had just 53,000 in their pocket and salaries of 50,000 were due next day. They managed to ride out of this crisis with their savings, and the company received a lifeline investment of $2 million from Indo-US venture partners. That helped the business to sustain. You see, not many companies were selling coupons at that time, and this industry was at its initial stage. Money Saver was an early mover and it was controlling around 70% of the market. Suddenly, investors were interested and the company raised $57 million. The couponing business was booming. Around the same time, Rohit and Kunal visited China. They were really inspired by the way Alibaba was revolutionizing the e-commerce industry. Inspired by the success of Alibaba, Rohit and Kunal wanted to create something on the similar lines in India. And Snapdeal was born. The deal business was shut down and the online marketplace was opened. It was a make or break decision, because Snapdeal had a huge market share in the deals business at that time, and starting something new was very risky, and this move surprised investors as well. This strategy makes sense because the market for discount coupons was very small compared to the e-commerce market. At that point of time, eBay was the only marketplace in India. Here we have to understand two important things. An e-commerce company can be run on two models: inventory-led model and marketplace model. In inventory-led model, the e-commerce company owns the product they sell on the platform. They invest money into the product and take care of the storage. But in marketplace-led model, e-commerce company doesn't own the product but allows various sellers to sell their products on the platform and charges a percentage as a commission. So at that time, companies such as Flipkart were following the inventory-led model. They bought the goods to sell on their site. They did not allow any other seller to sell on their platform. It is only with the Amazon's entry into India in 2013 that Flipkart had to begin offering its site as a marketplace. Snapdeal had followed the marketplace model from the beginning, and it helped the company to charge lesser commission and ultimately providing the product at low cost. It really helped Snapdeal to grow. Snapdeal's growth story started attracting investors, and even eBay became an investor in Snapdeal and brought its expertise onto the table. A major investment came in 2014 when Japan's richest man, Masayoshi Son, who is also the chairman of SoftBank, made a massive investment of $627 million. He is an investor in China's Alibaba as well. With that funding, Snapdeal was valued at $1 billion, and it became the unicorn, the 5th Indian company to join the club. Amazon was still trying to figure out the secret recipe for success in India. Snapdeal was the second largest e-commerce company after Flipkart. It had about 50,000 merchants selling 5 million products on its site, and Snapdeal was adding a new product every 20 seconds on its platform. In 2013 alone, Snapdeal sales have grown by 600%. So how has Snapdeal grown so fast? What was their secret for success? Snapdeal used an approach called BHAG, which means run in Hindi. Under this approach, Snapdeal used to set seemingly unachievable goals and then make sincere effort to achieve them by giving their best. As the founder Kunal Bahl said, and I quote, "The goal should be so unachievable that if you ask people in office for feedback, they should either get very nervous or laugh out loud at the ridiculousness of the idea." One such example was in Q1 2013, when Snapdeal's monthly revenue was between 5 to 7 crores. Founders decided that by the end of the quarter, it should be raised by 5 times to 30 crores. Employees were shocked, but fast forward 3 months, this goal was achieved. But this target wouldn't have been possible without the technology support. For that, Snapdeal launched its own logistics platform, SafeShip. It integrated all the courier companies Snapdeal dealt with alongside all the sellers and used an algorithm to point out which courier would work best for which seller. eBay also helped Snapdeal to enhance its credibility with the customers. Snapdeal also launched TrustPay in April 2013, which ensures quick payments and refunds. Everything was going well. At its peak, Snapdeal was valued at $6.5 billion. Snapdeal, at the peak of its business, again taking the inspiration from Chinese e-commerce companies, wanted to build an ecosystem where various services will be available under the umbrella of Snapdeal, just like what you see in Paytm today. They chose acquisitions as a way to achieve that. In 2015, Snapdeal made a costliest acquisition of FreeCharge for $400 million to help in its payments. They also acquired Unicommerce for $17 million to help in e-commerce, acquired GoJavas for $40 million to help in supply chain, and there were many more acquisitions. While Snapdeal was burning cash through acquisitions, the competition in the e-commerce market was intensified with Amazon and Flipkart in the mainstream. But Snapdeal was confident. As Kunal Behl said in an interview with Economic Times, and I quote, "The one thing I am very, very clear about right now is that I think we are going to be number one by March 2016. I think we are going to beat Flipkart by then." But what happened next was quite opposite. Snapdeal was busy building too many warehouses and burning cash for acquisitions, but they never built any category as their USP or unique selling proposition, which differentiates them from competitors. For example, Flipkart had fashion and electronics, Amazon had Prime and exclusive smartphone launches. Snapdeal had nothing. They failed to stand out. They had the upper hand in no particular category or service. Many of Snapdeal's acquisitions turned out to be disasters. The exception is logistics firm GoJavas. Snapdeal's own logistics arm, Vulcan Express, had to be sold to Future Group due to losses. Even Snapdeal's major acquisition, FreeCharge, failed to help the company, and Paytm remained the leader in digital payments. Finally, FreeCharge was sold to Axis Bank for $60 million. Compare that to $400 million which Snapdeal spent on acquiring it. That's a loss of $340 million. Snapdeal did come up with some revolutionary ideas which, if used properly, could have helped it, but execution failed. For instance, Snapdeal came up with the idea of omni-channel, where users can order products from their local retailers. Most importantly, with this, customer would be able to get delivery of the product within 2 hours of ordering it. This format had a great potential but failed due to strategic mismanagement. While Snapdeal's market share was getting eroded, the founders started a rebranding campaign. Snapdeal spent a whopping 200 crores and held at least 3 heavily advertised events in an attempt to gain market share from Amazon and Flipkart. As a desperate measure, Snapdeal launched Gold membership, which was similar to Amazon's Prime membership. It even launched its app in local languages to attract rural customers, but it didn't make any impact. Since 2014, Snapdeal had raised some $1.4 billion, and by 2016 they were left with $500 million in cash. These cash reserves were wiped out by discounts and marketing. It rejected at least 2 funding offers because of the differences at the board between SoftBank on the one side and Kalari Capital and Nexus on the other hand. In the middle of this chaos, many people in the top management resigned. Snapdeal had to terminate employees to cut cost. All this led to bad customer service and the domino effect started. SoftBank owns 33% in Snapdeal, while Nexus was roughly 10% and Kalari nearly 8%. Both Kunal and Rohit put together have 6% stake in Snapdeal. Investors were getting restless to see their wealth getting eroded, so they devised a plan to sell Snapdeal, and who is the best option than the India's largest e-commerce company, Flipkart. SoftBank had a stake in both Flipkart and Snapdeal, so they wanted the competitors to merge and create a larger company that could take on Amazon. Snapdeal got a back-to-back offers from Flipkart for $800 million and $950 million. Well, that's a lot lesser than its peak valuation of $6.5 billion. But this deal was complex and was leading to millions of dollars in tax liability to investors of Snapdeal. Along with that, founders were against the merger. It was much easier for Rohit and Kunal to sell off the company and get the money, but they didn't like that. The merger of Snapdeal with Flipkart never happened, and this was the turning point. The founders' commitment of not being acquired by Flipkart will now help them to rebuild the company once again, and that gave birth to Snapdeal 2.0. In a quest to become the market leader, Snapdeal was totally lost and distracted. Snapdeal made some big mistakes but learned powerful lessons. Now the founders have one more opportunity to rebuild the company. After the merger with Flipkart was called off, Rohit and Kunal devised Snapdeal 2.0. The main focus of this strategy is to concentrate on value e-commerce segment. So what is value e-commerce? This is a segment where customers are not worried about the brand. All they want is value for money. To simply put, Snapdeal decided to sell non-branded products. This is an area which Snapdeal had a good understanding because initially when they started as a couponing business, they were operating in value e-commerce segment. India's retail market is valued at around $785 billion according to Technopack. Of this, Snapdeal believes that non-branded retail space is around $163 billion, a market with huge potential. Now Snapdeal has a secret recipe that differentiates it from competitors. Snapdeal decided to sell only value for money products on its platform. That also means that Snapdeal had to make some hard choices, including not selling the latest high margin gadgets such as Apple phones or some other premium stuff. After this video, go back and check Snapdeal. You won't find many branded products. Today, about 70% of the company's sales come from apparels and home decor. The remaining come from electronic accessories and other items. Then, over the next few months, the company also began selling businesses that didn't work out. Snapdeal in total had acquired 11 companies. As we already discussed, it spent $400 million on free charge and finally sold it for $60 million to Axis Bank. Snapdeal sold off other companies as well and continued to focus on its core e-commerce business. In the financial year 2019, Snapdeal earned a revenue of 899 crores and its net loss was down to 188 crores from the staggering 5,143 crores in 2017. In 2020, the losses increased to 274 crores mainly due to COVID. Snapdeal had over 27 million unique buyers who purchased from the company in 2020. In comparison, in 2018, this number was just 8.99 million. Even when the COVID-19 pandemic hit, it added another 6 million users and 20,000 new sellers, apart from its already existing 500,000 sellers. As a next step in the business expansion, Snapdeal is now planning to go for IPO in 2022 to raise 1,250 crores. Snapdeal's business model is simple. It's about focusing on a good quality product at a great value, which mainly targets the Indian middle class, and it's a huge market. It's about focusing on very few things and doing these few things very well. The focus on specialization is what eventually brought Snapdeal back into the market. When everything was falling apart, Snapdeal founders believed in their vision and discovered a winning business strategy. Snapdeal has gone through a lot of ups and downs and finally coming back to the market with full force. So that's the video, guys. What do you think? Will Snapdeal succeed? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.